So this is our cozy minimalist weekly planning session. As usual, I shall be answering the questions that have come in this week. I shall be telling you where our focus is for decluttering and cleaning for next week. And as always, you're going to get a choice of 4 self-care missions. So let's dive in. Diane in Denmark here. Rah, rah, rah. I'm a routines coach and I'm helping you this year to simplify and to thrive. And we're doing it together. It's a very easy way. We're checking with each other 3 times a week. And on Mondays, we declutter together for 10 minutes. And on Wednesdays, we clean for 10 minutes. We were working in the bedroom this week. And Fridays, that's our cozy planning. I'm going to tell you a bit about books, Hygge, TV, 4 self-care missions. But first, let's dive into the questions, because there's always great questions that come in. Let me just get my reading glasses on. And these planning sessions, you can also use it to fold laundry. Maybe you need to do the dishes. Have you done your evening routine today? Have you done your morning routine today? Depending on when you're watching this video. Anyway, let's get into the questions. Got my glasses on. Right, first one is from Vienna at 50. And she commented on the Monday video when we were decluttering clothes in the bedroom. Please don't give away a Max Mara blazer. And she didn't say anything else, and I actually replied to her and said, why not? And I'm guessing she's saying don't give away that blazer because it's a good brand or it cost a lot of money. I actually bought it secondhand, so it wasn't expensive. But this is a really good teaching moment, because if you're hanging on to clothes just because it's a good brand or everybody else is wearing it or it was given to you by somebody else, you've really got to stop that thinking, because why are you cluttering up your life, your closet, your wardrobe with things that you don't love and enjoy? And you saw that on Monday's video. Outfits need to be a 9 out of 10 for me. This is one of my kind of 10 out of 10 pairings, is like a graphic t-shirt and a brightly coloured blazer. Just think about that. Think about the cost per wear. If it's something really expensive, make sure you're getting the maximum out of it. You know, make sure that you're really wearing it all the time. Right, next question. Jane Carouche, she said, how do you know about my black sweaters? Okay, it wasn't really a question, it was a comment, because I had mentioned on Monday's video, I said, you know, if you've got 25 black sweaters there, maybe you can let go of some of them if you're not wearing them all. Right, oh, falling out. On to the next question. This one is from Joey W. She has a question about our recycling programs here in Denmark. You've mentioned that you recycle several things that aren't allowed in my recycling in the US. Can you tell us more about Danish recycling? Okay, well, in general, the Danes are very good at recycling. Like the Germans, they're very into being good to the environment. But it will depend on which commune, which area you live in Denmark, what the rules are for the recycling. But for our area, we have food waste. We've got a little container with green bags which disintegrate. We put the food waste into that, and that's collected once a week. We've got, now I'm trying to think of the containers that we have here in the garden. We've got plastic and metal, paper, glass, and we also have cardboard, electronics, and anything which is dangerous, leftovers of paint or acids, toxic cleaning products. And the other thing is things like light bulbs and batteries. I think I remembered them all. Right, next question. Great questions today. This one is from Renee McLean. I don't know if that's a made-up name, McLean. She's wondering how I choose my nail colour and how often do I change it. Okay, well, you've seen me decluttering my nail varnishes before. I get a lot of my nail varnishes at our swap parties. And yeah, you can take a shot every time I say swap party. And my nails, I usually change it. I'm going to change the colour today. It's beginning to come off. And I usually do them once a week, twice a week, depending on how long they last. And I usually, now I've really kind of pared back the colour choices. So it's either a kind of pink or red, kind of corally red. So those are the two colours that I kind of switch between, and they go with all the colours in my wardrobe, because as you saw, I've been paring down the amount of colours that I have. So now I'm only wearing blues, aquas, reds, pinks and whites. So no greens, yellows, browns, and I haven't worn black, woohoo, since 2018. Actually, black was really easy to leave behind. It wasn't doing me any favours. Right, on to the next one. This is from Gloria Elswood. Where do I find the binder with all the Flylady schedules like the one I had in my notebook? Thank you for the videos. I am finally ready to debunk and clean. Right, okay, so you've seen this in my videos. This is my Flylady control journal. I call it Hygge Home, and in here I've got my lists. You can find all my lists for free, which you can print out at dianedenmark.com. I know most of these things, but sometimes if I'm having a really difficult day or a really difficult week, it just lets me what I need to do. Have I done my weekly upkeep clean? Remember, and always do that before you start the decluttering and the detailed cleaning in the zones. And also in there, I don't show my private information, but you can have emergency telephone numbers for the vet, the dentist, school, electricians, plumbers. It's really nice to have that there. So when an emergency happens, or you've got no power, you can't look up the telephone number on your telephone. Everything's down. It's really actually nice to have that backup. But I did want to talk about that in relation with another comment that came in this week, and this is from JLMO. I listened to the comment from the person who said she found Flylady in the early noughties, like you did, but it didn't stick. It was the same with me, probably around 2008 or so. I found Flylady in 2006. You know what got me stuck? The control journal. I felt like I had to do all the steps, shine the sink, put on shoes, get that control journal going. But I already had an organisational system that worked for me in terms of a binder. I always had a reason, or just an excuse, for not getting with the programme and really doing weekly zones. What you're doing now is what is getting me going. It is 10 minutes clean, 10 minutes declutter, plan and self-care. On days you don't make a video, I set that timer and just work in the zone. I overthought it so much before, it is embarrassing, but I'm letting that go. Little by little, I am seeing big changes. Thank you a million times over. Short routines and sticking with a zone plus a weekly home blessing are all the difference between success and maybe I will try that later for me. Rah, rah, rah. Rah, rah, rah to you, JLMO. And I thought that was a brilliant comment, because it sums up a lot of the things that I hear from coaching clients that have, I coach privately. You can book a session that's a 45-minute thing. It's not something where we check in with each other every week. And I hear that a lot from people that are questions here on YouTube. Oh, how long should I be cleaning for? What am I supposed to be doing? You really have to ditch that thinking of, oh, I have to make up the control journal before I can get started. I have to work through that list of the zone cleaning. You've just got to do something. Get up off your bahookie and do something. Okay, last question. And then we can get onto the books, TV, and where we're working next week. Okay, this is a question that's come in from many people over the years, but recently from Colleen Smith and Inge Sona and lots of Australians. Are there any sharks out there? And this relates to when I post my pictures, of me doing the ice swimming, the winter dipping. I'm in the sea every other day. And here in Denmark, we've got cold waters here. There are some types of sharks, but we're not talking about the jaws sharks that can maim you, kill you. Those just don't exist here in these waters. So there are no kind of dangerous animals you have to watch out for when you're swimming in Denmark. The only thing I would say would be the stinging jellyfish. That's the only thing which are annoying in the summer, but you know, look before you swim, look before you leap. Right, and then moving on to next week, where are we decluttering and cleaning? Where is our focus going to be? This week we were working on the bedroom, and to everybody who cleaned and decluttered along with me. Just 10 minutes and you saw fantastic results. Next week we are moving into Flylady Zone 5, the living room, the den, the family room, and next week we are changing from 1 month to the next, which means we're kind of overlapping between Flylady Zone 1 and Flylady Zone 5. Don't worry about it, I've mentioned it before. Flylady Zone 1 is the entryway to the house, the dining room, the hall. But if you are being consistent with your weekly upkeep clean, you'll find that most of those areas are covered by the upkeep clean. So don't worry too much about being in 2 different zones. I will walk you through it next week, it'll all be good. Okay, you ready for some self-care? Woohoo! Best part for me. Okay, 1, 2, 3 or 4. As usual, you might see a bit of being themed by Flylady Zone. Okay, so for the first mission, should you choose to accept it, mission number 1, wear something different. And by that I mean wear something that you haven't worn for a long time. Maybe you put some items on probation this week, or maybe wear something you've been saving for a special occasion. Now, you've heard me saying this before, that every day is a special occasion, okay? Don't be saving things for a special occasion. So number 1, wear something different. Mission number 2 is to say no to something this week. Now, I know that doesn't sound like self-care, but sometimes we really have to set boundaries on our time, or the people that we're spending time with, or the projects that we're spending time on. So if somebody says to you, oh, can you do this, or do you want to do this? I want you to learn to say no. If your gut feeling is saying, oh, I don't want to do that, but you're doing it out of sympathy or thinking, oh, I should, get that thinking right out of your head. Okay, so I want you to practice this week saying no to something, okay? Because I used to do that. Hands up if you were the same. They would say, like at school, oh, do we have any volunteers? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. I had to learn to sit in my hands, and then when they said, do you have any volunteers? I'd go, Diane, don't put up your hand, don't put up your hand. And now I only volunteer for things that I really, really want to do. And sometimes, you know, it's good to let somebody else shine and take the stage. You don't need to be doing everything. Or the other thing is, people would invite me to do things, go places, and I would say, oh yeah, that would be lovely. And then I would spend the next 3 weeks thinking, oh, how am I going to get out of this? A wee tip for you, you just say, oh, I don't have my diary, I'll let you know. And that way it just gives you that little bit of leverage, and then afterwards you can say, oh, sorry, I'm doing something else, or that doesn't fit in with my plans right now. Okay, mission number 3 is to get to bed early, or stay in bed in the morning and have a long lie, maybe this weekend, okay? Because we have been cleaning in the bedroom, make it a nice cozy place for ourselves. And I love getting to bed early with a book and some chocolates, which you saw hidden in my bed. Mission number 4 is to connect with nature. Okay, so we've talked a bit before about doing some creative. This week, connect with nature. Now, the season, at least for us, are changing. As I mentioned the other day, we've got so many snowdrops in the garden at the moment. This little clump that I dug up, and I have it beside the sink. I'm putting it here today. And these are the daffodils. I'm going to plant those outside in the garden, and they'll come up next year. But take some time to go a little walk. Just be mindful. Don't be looking at your phone or even listening on headphones, something. Just look and see what's around. So 1, 2, 3 or 4. Hopefully you can do all 4 of them. They're not to be done, you know, at the weekend. The self-care thing, I like to do my self-care daily. I want you to give a little bit of hygge to yourself, a little hug every day. And I hope you're finding these videos useful. I know a lot of you are seeing big progress, and as always, you can help me by sharing my videos on in a decluttering group that you're in, or a Hygge group with friends, family, because as I've mentioned before, I don't do any sponsored content. I keep it free from those annoying ads that pop up in the middle of videos. I don't do memberships. I don't take money for stuff. I don't accept gifts. So please, if you could support me by just sharing my videos, that would be great for me, because I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and that would keep the kids happy as well. Right, on to the TV and books. Okay, so books recently. I've just finished reading The Great Deceiver, which was the Ellie Griffiths. And I have to say, I was slightly deceived or disappointed myself. It was a 2 out of 5. And you know, I love her books, but that particular one in the Brighton series, not so much. A couple of audiobooks that I'm listening to and have listened to recently. And I like the audiobooks for when I'm working, doing chores. The Clementine Complex, or it's called the Satsuma Complex, depending on which country you're in, by Bob Mortimer, who is a British comedian. And actually, it was a bit difficult to get into, but it was quite good fun. And the only thing was that it's Bob Mortimer who does some of the narration for the book himself. And I think he's a good comedian, but not great at narration. So anyway, that was that one. And one that I've just started listening to, and it's real escapist, lady detective, and we're in Venice and then going off to Greece, is called Last Seen in Santorini by Vivian Conroy. I haven't really got into it much, so I can't say if it's great or not, but that's that one. And I'm back to reading the P.D. James because I've finished the Ellie Griffiths and the Richard Osman that I had at that I had from the library. So, and I'm really getting into that one. I'm really enjoying that. And then if you're looking for a bit of Hygge feel-good television, you know me, I love the cozy crime things. Things like Death in Paradise, McDonald and Dodds, Father Brown. I mean, there's so many of them. And a new one that I'm watching, and I think this is another Acorn TV one. We get them on a Danish channel, but it's called the Madame Blanc Mysteries. And you really do have to suspend belief. It's a bit like Shakespeare and Hathaway. In the beginning, I thought, oh no, I'm going to like that. And then I ended up absolutely loving it. So over the top, so unbelievable. And I think it's a bit the same with the Madame Blanc Mysteries. Anyway, it's set in the south of France, and it's got a kind of cast of old British TV people who I don't really know many of them because I've been out of Britain for over 30 years. Some of them I kind of know. Anyway, that might be worth checking out. And one other one which I never mentioned was Ted Lasso. And it's funny because there was so much swearing in it. One of the characters, but I absolutely love Ted Lasso. It was just, I binge watched the 3 series of it. We don't have Netflix anymore. I stopped all the streaming services, but Ted Lasso, I was laughing until the tears were rolling down my cheeks. But I was also sad, and you know, the full roller coaster of emotions. So anyway, a few recommendations for TV and books. Woohoo! I think we got through everything. And how did you get on? Did you manage to fold some laundry or clean your office while we were chatting? I shall see you next week for doing a declutter in Flylady Zone 5. Remember to leave a comment, let me know what your self-care is going to be. And all I've got left to say is live long and prosper, have a fabulous weekend, and see you very soon with a wrap. Okay, bye for now.